This is section 2 of part 2 of our Vectorworks drafting tutorial. It starts on page 6 of the written tutorial. In this section, we'll be adding doors, windows, and escape platforms to the set that we've started laying in. So we're going to start by working on the stage right wall. So I'm just going to zoom in here to where the stage right wall and the back wall intersect. And the first thing we're going to do is create a doorway. So I'm going to start by activating my rectangle, shortcut 4, and I'm going to start it right where these two meet. Drag that down to start, and like most of our rectangles, I'm going to tab into our floating display bar, and I'm going to make this one -6.5, so it's 6.5 inches thick, and tab over to the delta Y, and that's going to be -2 feet, 10 inches. Great, we'll click that to complete. Now we need to affect the line style of this. This is actually going to be a hidden line, and theatrical drafting convention tells us that hidden lines are dashed. So we're going to come over here to our pen attributes, change the line type, and it's defaulting to ISO 03. We don't want that. We want it to be a little bit of a tighter dash, so we're going to go ISO 02. Double click on that, and then it's been updated. The next thing we need to do is draw in our door jambs, and we're going to do that with a new tool, which is the double line tool. It's in the basic tool set right next to the line tool. So I'll click on that to activate it. And in the toolbar, it gives us a variety of different options about what the orientation of this double line is going to be. We're going to stick with this first one, which is top control line mode. But I am going to change the separation to 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to start that line in the top left corner of the rectangle that I just drew. And I'll click once and drag it all the way over to the top right and click again. And there's the double line representing our door jamb. I'm going to go ahead and just mirror that across the center of the door, making sure that I'm in duplicate mode with my mirror tool. Click here and pull it straight across so it creates the other part of that door jamb. Next thing we're going to do is create another rectangle that represents the actual door. It's going to be 1 inch thick, so we'll activate our rectangle. We're going to start it just inside this door jamb, and we'll bring it all the way down to this one and tab into our display bar and tell it that it's going to be -1, so it's 1 inch thick inside of the jambs. And we'll click that to complete. We need to swing the door open because, again, theatrical drafting convention tells us that when representing doors, we draw it with the door open with the orientation of the swing, so we know what direction that door is going. So we're going to select our rotation tool, and once again it's going to give us our protractor. Our hinge point, or pivot point rather, is going to be right here, this top right corner, so we'll click there. We'll hold shift and come straight down that door, click again, and then we're going to pull it out to the right until we snap to 45 degrees. And we'll click a third time, and there's our door. I'm just going to hit X to get back to my selection tool. And then we need to draw in the arc of the door swing so we know what direction it's going. For that, we're going to use the arc tool, which is up in the basic tool set. Its shortcut is the number 3. We'll click on that. And again, you can see there are a variety of different ways that Vectorworks will let you create an arc. We're going to stick with this first one right here. And to draw in that arc, we're going to click on the top left corner of this rectangle, and then we're going to bring it down to the bottom left corner, and then we're going to swing that down and connect to the jamb right there. As with our rectangles, our arc is automatically filled because of our attribute palette defaults being solid filled. So while that arc is selected, I'm going to come up here to the fill style and change it to none. And while I'm also here, I'm going to give it an arrow by clicking on this button right here, which is going to give me a starter arrow indicating what direction that door is swinging. I'm going to select all of the items in this door that I've created so far, and we'll come over here to the line weight and change it to a line weight of 7. That's all set. And with those all selected, I want to turn this door into a group so that the whole thing just function as one unit. So once again, our shortcut for creating a group is Command G there, and that shows me that I have created a group of all of those individual objects. I need to move this door into place. So for that, we're going to use the Move tool yet again, Command M. And for this one, we're going to move our X offset is going to be -9 or 9 inches stage right of where it is right now. And our Y offset is going to be -1 foot 3 5/8 of an inch. And we'll click OK. And that has moved our doorway just down and off stage a little bit, so it's still intersecting with the wall. And then we need to rotate it into position with that wall. So while it's still selected, we'll go back to our rotation tool again. This time our pivot point is going to be the end point of the top of the door jamb. So we'll select that. We'll grab the bottom of the other door jamb and swing it over to 30 degrees, which is where it intersects that other wall. We'll click one more time, and there it's inserted. Now that we've got a door into our set, we need an offstage escape platform and masking flats, a way of getting on and off that way. So we're going to activate our polygon tool in the basic tool set. And we're going to start from the upstage right corner of the stage right scenic wall. So this point right here, and we'll click once and head off stage and tab into our display bar, and we're going to give it a distance of 8 feet. I'll hold down the shift to lock my horizontal position and click again. Our next one is going to come down 4 feet. So we'll tab in, say 4 feet. Great, that's showing me where it is. Again, I'm holding shift to lock that vertical position at its length. Clicking again. Now I'm just going to come over and hold my shift key until I intersect with this wall. It's telling me that I'm hitting an object at a horizontal angle, which is exactly what I want. I'll click again, and then I'm going to come up to my original point and click one more time to finish off that polygon. Now that I've got my runoff platform, the next thing that I'm going to do is draw the stair that's going to put that, that allows us to access that. So that's going to be another rectangle, and it's just going to go the entire height of this, which is our 4 feet, and our delta X is going to be -8 inches so that it's 8 inches wide. We'll just make this one 4 feet for good measure. Whoops, nope, we'll make it -4 feet. There we go. And we'll click to insert that. So now we have a step up to our escape platforms that are the same height as what we did earlier in the tutorial. So we will select both of our height markers and duplicate them. Again, Command D. And we'll bring them up here. And then I want to rotate them to the right. So if I go to Modify, Rotate right 90 degrees. There we go. And I'm going to put them into place like so. Now, I don't really like that because the letters, the numbers aren't reading correctly, so we're going to change that just a little bit. I'm going to select those again and just delete them. And we'll do this individually one at a time. So I'll select my 8-inch marker, duplicate it, bring it up onto this step here. Like so. And then I'll duplicate my 16-inch marker and grab the insertion point, smart point of the 8-inch one and just move it over so that it's in the same plane. There we go. That looks a bit better. So the last thing that we need to do for this part of it is to draw our masking flat along the back edge of this platform. And so the way we're going to do that is grab our rectangle tool yet again, and we're going to start right here on this top right point, and we're just going to drag it over. We're going to tell it that the delta y is -3. That'll lock in our height of it, and we're just going to go until we intersect that wall. There we go. So now we have a masking flat on top of that platform. We're going to select all of these elements that we just put in, and we're going to change their line weight to 7 as well. Now that we've got that updated, we're going to just mirror this over to the other side. So we're going to draw a marquee around everything that we just did. And we want that to be repeated on the other side. So grab our mirror tool, make sure we're in duplicate mode. We're going to go from the bottom center of the upstage scenic wall, pulling straight down, and there's our second door with the offstage runoff platform for it. I'm going to go ahead and save my file because I've done some work and I don't want to lose any of it. So the next thing we're going to do is draft some windows in the upstage scenic wall. All right, so we'll select our rectangle once more, and we're going to start our rectangle right at the bottom center point of this upstage wall, and we'll click once, and we'll tab into our floating display bar and tell it that this is going to be a 2'6" wide window, and we're going to make it 5.5 inches wide. Great, and then we'll click on there. There's the basic structure of our window. We're going to go back to our double line tool and just confirm that the top control line mode is still activated. It is. Our separation is still 3/4 of an inch. That hasn't changed, which is great. So we're just going to draw a double line straight from the bottom to the top of that window like we did with the door, and we'll just mirror that across the center of the window to create the other side. All right. Next, we're going to activate our line tool, shortcut 2, and we're going to draw a line between these two reveals that we just put in. So we'll start it here at this endpoint, go to that one and set it, and then we're going to move that down 1 inch. So Command M, we're not moving it at all on the x-axis, and our y-axis is going to be -1. Okay, we're going to duplicate this, Command D, and we're going to move it down another inch as well. And we're going to do it one more time. So we've made 3 new lines. Okay, so we'll now select all of the elements of that window, and we're going to change their line weights to 7 as well to match everything else, and Command G to create a group out of that. Once I've got the entire group created, I'm actually going to move it into position where I want it on that wall. And so I'm going to move it on the x-axis this time. I'm going to move it 2 feet 9 inches. I'm going to tab down and make my y 0. I don't want it moving up and down at all. And click OK. And it's moved it over into its position on the wall. I'm going to go ahead and grab my mirror tool, and I'm going to mirror this across the center of that wall to create my second window. So there's my 2 windows, there's my 2 doors, my runoff platforms with the masking flats, and we're really starting to come together. So I'm going to go ahead and fit to my objects and save this file, and in Section 3 of this tutorial, we'll move on with placing some soft goods.